as I mentioned, Skate Story, one of the craziest games I think I've ever played, just in terms of visual presentation and mind fudgery, if you will. Truly an interesting blend of genres, surrealism mixed with skateboarding, mixed with almost Souls elements. You know, it wasn't really a Souls-like. I would definitely not want to, like, originally I saw someone say, oh, it's the, you know, Dark Souls of skateboarding. It really isn't, but it does have elements that were clearly inspired from it, like, you know, similar to the, even just in fonts and, you know, in boss fights, the way they've done things was really, really interesting. And it was this is one of those games that you just cannot explain. You know what I mean? The type of genre that it is based, yes, it is a skateboarding game. It's like Tony Hawk meets Dark Souls meets, I don't even know what other games I can even compare it to, but it is an absolute crazy experience from start to finish. So first thing I want to get into, now that I've somewhat explained what we're dealing with here, I'm going to get into the good and the bad. We're going to start things off with what I didn't particularly like about this game. Now, I think the game's biggest thing is it doesn't really know when to stop. Does that make sense? I don't mean it doesn't know when to end the game. I just think it doesn't really know when it wants to, like, what it's doing at any given moment. When it gives you what it gives you, it's a crazy overwhelming experience. It's totally an artist's rendition of what, you know what I mean? You can interpret what it means, but when you really look at this game, it's a very overwhelming, and it throws so much at you at one given moment, and then it switches it. It is meant to be a very artistic game, but unfortunately it does do, honestly, I don't even really know how to word it. It's such a confusing game to the point where it's like, what am I doing at this given moment? You know what I mean? I think it's just an absolutely, well, like I said, there are times when I just wish it would just figure out what it wants to tell you and then like stick with that, but then it switches over to something else that is the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your life. Some might consider it like it's not worth their time because I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. This makes no sense to me. And that, I think, is the biggest thing with this game, is it might be too acid trippy to the point where it's pretty much nonsensical. I mean, yes, you can get the general idea, but really when you think about it, what did we do? And where did we go? Like, you know, even just like without spoiling anything, obviously, like the ending, the beginning, does it all really matter? Like, I mean, obviously we had a goal and we had a villain, but again, a lot of it was you just trying to figure out what is going on in this particular moment. I think that alone was the biggest problem, was like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's so confusing, and it seems like it's doing too much. And obviously with the with the amount of words and the fact that they're, you know, repeating themselves. I know it's for artistic, like to deliver the art, you know, the art behind it and the poetry of it. It wants to just, like, it is poetry. That's the thing that you have to understand. It is very much a poetic game. But I mean, I think, again, with poetry and art and that sort of thing, it's all subjective and people can take things a certain way. But this one, it's like so out there. Again, you're struggling. You're just like, hey, let's either get to the bottom of this, figure something out. Otherwise, like, I just don't know what I'm looking at. And at this point, it's just kind of like a gong show, you know? So just from that aspect alone, for most folk, I think, or a good chunk of people, I think it'll be a tough game to kind of understand and kind of follow. I don't know if it's too out of left field or, you know, or not. It's hard to tell where I'm sitting on that. But again, it is a very confusing game. And there's a lot of times where, like I said, it was repeating the same scene over and over again to drive the point home. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? So aside from that, I will say the gameplay, it takes a lot to get used to. And I feel like it makes things way too complicated. I think the moves that they're doing, they're all very simplistic, really. When you play any other skateboarding game, it all relatively makes sense. You know, it's designed a certain way, but I think the way the control scheme and the way this game is meant to be played, it does add a crazy layer of complexity, over complexity. And it, like I've been using this term a little bit too. It's been over engineered. You're trying to do way too much, and it's complicating it with I can't explain this control scheme unless you play it yourself. It is one of the most confusing ones I've ever done. Obviously, as I got on, the game was a lot easier for me to play, and I actually started getting pretty good at the combos. But it's one of those games where it's like, it's so complicated to do every little movement. Everything you know about like skateboarding games or anything is completely out the window, because what you think you would to spin, what you think you'd use to kickflip or shove it or whatever, all these skate tricks are a crazy combination of, like, not a crazy combination, but if you want to do crazy combos, it really does require a lot of brain power, and you're really gonna have to flex that muscle in your brain there that remembers those complexities. So I think the learning curve, I guess is what I'm trying to say, to really do things effectively and efficiently to actually get a decent score is pretty long. Like I only really started getting quite good at the game within the last, would you say, like last 3-ish chapters, I'd say. Like once I got to chapter 8, I'd say that Blackest Fire chapter, towards the end of the game, I started busting out combos like crazy, getting a high score, all that kind of stuff. But it took way too long to get there, you know, and I just don't think it did a really great job of being like, here, this is how you know, combine stuff, and this is the way it goes, you know, and this is, you know, it didn't really feel like it was, the flow was off, you know what I mean? You know, in some games, a lot of skateboarding games, it's all about having a good flow, good rhythm, good momentum, you know, and it turns into a nice sequence. You never really get there, and if you make one mistake with this one, you kind of just bounce into a wall, or you fall off, you kind of start again. But you know, I don't know, I just don't feel like it could be, it's as satisfying as it could be with nailing these things. Again, once I figured it out, it started, you know, making sense, and I enjoyed it that way. But I think it takes way too long to get to that point. So I think it's just, like I said, over-engineered, but, you know, it is something different. So you got to look at it from that perspective. In terms of the story, again, very confusing. I don't know if it really, what you would consider the story to be. If you look at the heart of the story, you can understand it, and you can follow it. But even as you go through it, you're just kind of questioning literally everything that's in front of you. Like, what is the situation with this guy? Is he dead? Is he alive? Is he, like, you know, and then they talk about New York City. Like, it's just like, what is it? You know what I mean? I think it leans too heavy on the metaphor, but I understand that as an artistic choice. So now that's basically what I didn't particularly like about the game. Let's go into what I did like about the game. So I want to say this. This is probably one of the most unique games I've ever played in my life. Like, in my life. I don't think I've ever played a game that was like this, that had me questioning everything I was looking at. I felt like everything seemed unintentional, but it had intention. Like, everything that was here looked like it didn't know what it was doing. It was like on drugs, it was drunk, which was all intended. I'd never once felt like this guy's like not knowing how to tell a story. I feel like he knew how the story he wanted to tell, and this is the way he wanted to tell it. And I think that, again, even though it gets lost on some people, if you really look through it, there's a lot of poetry in this game, like so heavily to the point that the creativity is immense. Like, this man's did very well in his English class when it came to poetry. I feel like I'd never seen the twist on poetry like this. It's very moody, it's atmospheric. It's a game that really actually makes you think of the words, because I feel like everything that we've been given, everything that we were shown, explained, not even explained, but everything is all about interpretation. And if you really look at it, everything's all metaphoric, like I said. So it's all metaphorical, and I think it all stands for something. And especially with the New York City imagery, in my opinion, I don't really think any of this actually happened. And I think like this actually follows this guy who's in New York City, and he's struggling with his inner demons. Like I said, that's what I feel like it's, I mean, again, interpretation. So in terms of that, it's an absolute trip. Visual experience is honestly second to none. It looks good, and it's such a simple game when you really think about it. It looks so cool, like all the different kinds of things we're seeing. Again, if those of you who want to, you know, who value your health and you don't want to experiment with LSD, like I'd say most people wouldn't do, I feel like this is a game to be like, hey, could potentially be what LSD is like, safely. You can enjoy LSD safely, just play Skate Story. So that's the best way I can say it. It's a crazy trip, crazy experience. And again, you're not going to ever see a game like this. Like I can almost promise you've never seen a game like this before. So the creativity alone, like I said, I want to put that mark on it. The creativity alone is absolutely phenomenal. And I gotta hand it to Sam here for just giving us something we've never seen before, and doing it in his own way, and just in a way that like we would never expect. And you know, I never knew what turns I was coming. I've been playing this game for over 6 hours, and I never knew what was coming next. One minute you got this, you know, you got these slugs, these space slugs rolling around. The next minute you got oh god, I don't even know, like there was so much, like all these like robotic things mixed with like demons who were pillows, and like it was crazy, man. There was all sorts of different things in here, and I gotta commend him for that. Another thing I want to bring up as well was the soundtrack. Soundtrack was amazing. It was interesting because it was kind of like I want to say it was almost like a shoegazing. I don't know if you're familiar with the shoegazing brand. So it was almost atmospheric, ambient, but also mixed with like trance and, you know, I don't know, just all sorts of different EDM type genres that fit the vibe. Some of it almost had pop-like elements in certain areas, even folk-like elements. Like, it was a crazy soundtrack, and I was like, wow, this is a vibe, and it suits what we're doing, and it really kind of set the stage. I feel like without the music, it wouldn't be where it was. But at the same time, there were moments where they removed the music from the level, and again, that's part of the vibe. It's like now you're feeling a whole different way. So I think from an audio and a visual experience, this game is crazy, and I don't think you're going to experience anything like it. I will say though, I didn't feel like I needed to do anything else, even though there's extras. I could keep skating in each location. I didn't feel like I needed to do anything. You know how some games I'm like, I want to do everything. I want to get the side missions. I want to do all this. I'll do all that. I don't really feel like there was side missions per se. I mean, there were certain things, but I feel like they were just about setting the lore and setting the environment, and atmospherically, again, that's the best thing I could say about it. The game was fun though, I will say that. I don't want to be like, oh, the controls were complex. It was no fun. Like the whole core, the main core element of the game, which is the gameplay and you know, the skating mechanics, it was so out of base, it was just not fun because it was so complex. No, it was still fun once you kind of got an idea for it. Even if you didn't master it, there was still a nice little flow, and it was like a journey. You know, it wasn't so much about being like a Tony Hawk game. It was more so about like the journey from start to finish, like told through the eyes of something, or you know, a protagonist we wouldn't expect, and the whole like imagery about it, and like I said, the metaphor of it, it's all fit in really, really nicely. So that's, again, the biggest thing about this game is even if you ignore the gameplay struggles, it does tell a story through its own unique way, in a very artistic, poetic way, and it's truly quite beautiful in its own way. It's messed up, it's a bit confusing, but it is truly a beautiful thing, and I think it's a really creative game, and I don't think we're gonna play anything like it. Will I need to replay it? You know, now that I've said all that, let's summarize basically. Based on all we've had here, again, great visuals, great audio experience, just crazy soundtrack. One of the most creative things I've ever seen, despite having, you know, some janky controls, or not janky, well, I guess it was a little janky, over-engineered, over-complicated controls that were very tricky to master. Some bits were kind of repetitive and grindy, and Buddy just didn't get us, like, the point. He would never end the point, and it would be a little bit, you know, droning on and on and on and on. But I can forgive that, because I feel like there's just so much new here that we've never seen, you know? Will I need to play it again? Probably not. I don't really think this is a game that makes me want to do all the extra content. Like I said, you probably could. I know some people, like, we're at the point where now that we're in the epilogue, we can't go back, so there is a point of no return. So if you are going to be playing this game yourself, if you want to do everything, I wouldn't start the epilogue until, or even the final mission, like right when you're about to fight that boss. That was pretty much my point of no return. I think that's what they told us, by going back into you know, going back into our dream sequence. Like, this is your last time to kind of go back to other levels, explore, get, like, you know, achievements, collectibles, whatever the case would be, get stickers, all that stuff. This is pretty much your last time to do it, because you're about to fight the boss, and then your save is null and void. So you'll essentially have to start a new game over, like I would have to if I wanted to go back. So I'm not about it, but I feel like you can get all the achievements in like 1 or 2 runs. I don't think it would be that bad, but I still feel like it's not necessary. I feel like the story kind of holds its own that way. So given all that, you know, and all my playtime, based on the price and everything, which wasn't terrible, for the amount of time I got, you know what, this game is kind of a struggle one for me, because I wanted to give it, it's been getting really good scores. I want to say, like, just across the board, it's been getting like 9s and 8s and things like that. So it scores high, but I think those are a tad generous, but I still think it's really, really a solid game. I just don't think it has enough to keep people coming back. It's like a one-done game, which I think it does lose a little bit. And since the game is so heavily rooted in the story and in the atmosphere of it, and less in the gameplay, you're not so much going to feel like you need to come back and just free skate. There's never a point where I'm just going to be like, I just want to go and free skate and skate story. No, there's other games I'll do for that, like, you know, Skate or Tony Hawk. You know what I mean? There's other games that do that role better. So based on all that stuff, I think a fair score for this one is going to be a 7 out of 10. I think it does a lot of things well. It's in the good category, in my opinion. A 7 out of 10 is considered a good score. It's above the above average, you know, that kind of good, teetering on the good area. But I just think there's just, because the controls are a little bit weird and overly complicated, And I don't think there's a ton of replay value here once you're kind of done this story, you know? I feel like I said, you can do stuff, but it just doesn't feel as satisfying like you need to. It does make me feel like, okay, I'm good with hanging this game up. It was an interesting experience, very, very unique. But again, it was so trippy and a little confusing to the point where it's like, I don't need to invest any more time in it. So that's essentially my thought on that. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Turn on those post notifications with the bell icon so you don't miss anything I put out here on the channel. Be sure to like, follow my socials, Facebook, X, Instagram, Snapchat, and Discord. Those are linked in the description. If you want to get yourself a shirt or hoodie of mine, there's a link in the description. Also a section right below my stream. They'll show a preview of some items you can get. Ultimately, just go to the website though for the full range of products and customization options there. Big shout out to the sponsors, of course, DX Racer, Bones Coffee, The Ridge Wallet, Mad Rabbit Tattoo. I use the products daily. Check them out for yourselves with the links in the description. Be sure to use my promo code DANQ8000 to save at checkout with them. If you want to send something to my PO box, there's an address listed in the description. Anything that gets sent there will be open in a social post or in a live stream, whatever makes more sense for whatever's sent. So check that out if you are interested in sending something my way. Finally, be sure to check out and sign up for the Team 8000 membership program if you haven't done so yet. That supports the page immensely. There's 4 tiers, 4 price points. Entry level starts at just 99 cents. So it's cheap and easy to get in the program that way. However, across various tiers and price points, you will get things like custom badges by your name, custom emojis used in chat, exclusive video and stream access, party and open lobbies, giveaways, discounts, and plenty more. Working our way through the 2000s yet again. The most we've had is 2450. We're sitting at around 2100. So we've been doing great with the members. I appreciate everyone supporting, but let's see how high we can go. Next emoji unlocks at 2600. So we got a bit of a mountain there, but I think we can do it. I know you guys have been amazing, so let's see what we can do. So if you want to help us get there, get some cool perks, support the channel, you can join that with the link in the description. Join button is below the stream, section on my main channel page as well. If you want to gift those members or send super chats, you can do both of those with the $ icon next to chat. Click it, you will get a drop down. If you are gifting members, just remember you can do 1 to 50 in a single transaction. Ultimately gift as many as you want through multiple transactions. Okay, thank you guys so much again. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we catch you in the next one. All right, we'll see you all then. Take care. Peace.
Who's the man with the plan? If you feel trouble wild and wild on these violent and hit you 8,000. Wait a minute, hold that style is dialed in. Goddamn Billy Jack, we still riding tires flat. I hear them sirens, see shots flying, so we driving fire back. If they ain't vibing, lie with that. Got me dressed up in all black. What up? Hood up, and I see them haters try to run with us. They gon' need inhalers. Gotta breathe them hard just like Darth Vader. Players, grab your respirators. Night invaders get lightsabered. Mask on for the shooters. Move like trash to bed intruder. Got that Glock and got them woofers. Just press play, I'll keep it moving. Who is not? Still you damn fools. Keep it fresh like canned food. There ain't nothing we can't do, so tune into that damn cue. Yeah. It was never, ever a game.